resonate with. And I think this really talks about not having just white perspectives shown in film. They say that people aren't going to be able to resonate with those characters because, you know, they're not predominantly white, or films like this don't travel very well because people won't be able to see themselves in it. But I very much saw myself in this, and I'm not Chinese and I'm not American. My name is Sophie Hannah and this is the CINE blog, and today I'm talking about The Farewell. Now, I didn't really know much about this film going into it, which is always a pro because then you can always be not really knowing where it's going or where the film is leading. Now, the film is about a Chinese American girl called Billy who grew up in China but now she lives in New York, and she has a very, very close relationship with her grandmother who still lives in China called CINE. Billy finds out that her grandmother is actually dying of cancer, but no one has actually told her grandmother. But they say that if someone knows that they're going to die, they give up hope. So you allow them to just kind of enjoy their life while they still can, and tell them only if they really, really need to know. Now, the family all want to say goodbye to CINE, but they can't tell her that she's dying. So they engineer this situation where Billy's cousin is going to get married. Well, it's actually for real, so I shouldn't use quotation marks, but he's only been with the girl for 3 months. And all the family fly back to China for the wedding, but it's really for the farewell. I'm sure you liked what I did there. Now, the first things that I have to say about this film is that it's subtitled, but that should not put you off. But this film is definitely worth the watch. I absolutely loved it. It stayed with me long past the point that I left the cinema. I was literally raving about it. Number one would have to be that the story was completely unpredictable. Now, that's not just because I didn't know anything about it going into it, but in the film you just do not know where this is going. Like, it is such a random concept for a film, I thought. So there's so many twists and turns, and you're just always kind of wondering, is someone going to tell her what's going to happen? And I really love that about a film. Like, you hardly ever get that experience. Like, you know, when you're watching something for the first time and you don't know how it's going to end, like, you can't capture that, you can't bottle that feeling of just, oh, excitement. I just love it. I absolutely love it. I can't really complain about the script. I really don't think they put a foot wrong with it, to be honest. The second pro for me would have to be the character of CINE. Now, the actress who played her was just fantastic in this role. She was hilarious. She was also so genuine, so dedicated to her family. As I was watching this film, I felt, I know this woman. Like, I know her from my family. I know her from other people's families. If you've ever known a woman who was a strong matriarch of her family, who had earned the right and had enough years to be able to say whatever she wanted to people, who really did everything for her family, who sacrificed for them, who wanted them to succeed, who was just at her happiest when she has all of her loved ones around her, it didn't feel like she was acting to me. She was just this person. She just was CINE, and the film couldn't have done better in picking her as this character, and I think she was absolutely wonderful in this role. I also have to say Awkwafina, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Now, the first time I ever saw Awkwafina was in Crazy Rich Asians, where she's playing this kind of hilarious, over-the-top caricature of a person. She's very slapstick funny in that film. But in this, although she is funny, the character she played of Billy is so close to her grandmother, and the way that you really see her raw emotions of pain, of guilt, of sorrow, anger, all these feelings that she has at the thought of losing her grandmother. She doesn't have to verbalize them, they just really translate through her facial expressions, through her mannerisms, through the things that she says, through the way that she says it. I think she was as wonderful in this role, and it really makes me excited to see other things that she can be in, because she really does have a really great range. Another pro for me would have to be the music. Now, it has this really strange and eerie orchestra strings music, and I don't even know if you'd call it singing. It was kind of like this, it was I don't know, it was like, I don't know, maybe you could hear it in like a ghost film, I don't know. It was very haunting, but it just works so well with the film. Like, it's not a shiny or glossy film at all. It's really showing the kind of like inner city urban life in China, but then it has this really powerful, emotive, stringed orchestra music over it, which just pairs so well with the drama. So it really brings a beauty to like all these shots and images of dull urban Chinese life. But it also works as a really powerful way to show the emotions that people are feeling. And whoever sourced it, edited it, picked it, overlaid it onto the images, fantastic job. And I say the fifth pro, because there were a lot of pros in this film, would have to be the look at Chinese life that it gave. A lot of films, when they're showing different cultures, they can really focus on showing a westernized side of life. Again, I'll talk about Crazy Rich Asians because it came out last year. And that film was just showing just high life in Singapore that probably 1% of people live in. But this film really showed the kind of day-to-day life in the urban, built-up city. And it was really nice to kind of see like a slice of average life. And it really felt that that could be anybody. That is so many of us. You know, we're not living as the top 1%. We're living and we're just trying to get by and live a life and give the best to our families and the best to our children. So as much as it was about Chinese people, Chinese American people live in China, I felt like this could have been anybody, and I really loved that. In terms of the cons, honestly, when I was watching this film, I didn't write down any. I literally couldn't think of any cons. I really loved it that much. So yeah, moving on to the next. The number one theme for me would have to be immigrants. Now, in the sense that Billy is a Chinese American. She moved there with her parents when I think she was about 10 years old. She's an immigrant, and this idea of when you emigrate and you're going to live a life in probably a more Western country, they can lose a part of their identity. They now have to live in a different culture and really learn how to get along in that world now. Sometimes that means losing their native language, losing some of the traditions or the cultural aspects and all these things that they would have known, and that would have been secondhand nature to them if they'd stayed in their home countries. And this film really talks about, you know, what we leave behind. Was the trade worth it? I'm an immigrant in this country. My family came from Jamaica. Or when you go back to your home country or the country of your parents, you don't fit in. You don't fit in 100% there because you never grew up there. You're not one of them. And then you're in another country where you're not one of them either. And you're in this place where you're trying to unite two different worlds inside of yourself. Seeing the family having to deal with the guilt and the question of, like, you know, did I make the best decision? Was making more money or my child going to a better university outweighed what they would have gotten at home by being entrenched in their roots? I don't know. It's a question that's beyond me, for sure. But I really love that the film really looked into trying to delve into these and not even really answer them, but just saying that these are the things that people deal with. And I think this really talks about not having just white perspectives shown in film. They say that people aren't going to be able to resonate with those characters because, you know, they're not predominantly white, or films like this don't travel very well because people won't be able to see themselves in it. But I very much saw myself in this, and I'm not Chinese and I'm not American. Whew, yeah. There was a lot going on. So that was theme number one. Theme number two for me would have to be family, of course. You just can't get away from them. You love them, you hate them, you have difficult times with them, but when push comes to shove, they are the ones that have your back. That's what you see in this film, and it made me really want to call my family members more and stay in contact with them and really appreciate them while they're still here. So yeah, those are some really great themes, and they were so strong in the film and just layered and peppered throughout. So then in terms of ratings, now I rate my films out of burgers, and the maximum burgers would be 5. And out of 5 burgers, I would give this film a strong 4, maybe more. I don't even know. I couldn't give it cons, could I? Like, I'm really reluctant to give something 5 because I feel like that means it's like the perfect film. But this film was pretty great. I would give it, let's say, 4.5 burgers. I'm going to commit to that, which I think is the highest rating that I have ever given on here. But I think this film is definitely worth it. It's an excellent burger. It's so tasty. It's so juicy. It's something that you're going to go back and try again, and that you're going to get something brand new from it. It's something that I would recommend to people, that they must have it, that they must try it. That is this film. Don't let anything put you off going to see it. I don't know what else I can say to you. Now, I like to end my vlog on a film question, and today's question would be, what is the best subtitled film you have ever seen? If you have not seen one, please take this as your opportunity to go and see one. Please leave your comments down below. I'd love to talk to you and hear your answers. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel while you're down there, because I want you to follow my journey as I watch 100 films in 2019. I'm not even going to tell you how much films I have left. I just want you to continue watching my journey. But until the next time, I'll be seeing you soon.